Life-saving information every year. 435,000 American women have heart attacks, and 267,000 of them die largely because their symptoms are missed or misunderstood. My mother Dorothy was almost one of those statistics. At 73, she experienced what doctors now call a silent heart attack. No chest pain, no left arm numbness, none of the classic signs we've been taught to watch for. Instead, she had 5 subtle symptoms that nearly everyone, including some medical professionals, dismissed as normal aging. Here's what every family needs to know about how heart attacks really present in women over 70. This isn't just another health video, this is life-saving information that could prevent you from losing someone you love. The 5 warning signs I'm about to share with you are backed by the American Heart Association, the Mayo Clinic, and cardiologists across the country. But most importantly, they're the exact symptoms that nearly cost my mother her life because we didn't recognize them as cardiac emergency signals. Stay with me until the end, because by the time you finish watching this video, you'll know how to spot a heart attack in elderly women, even when it doesn't look anything like what you've seen in movies or medical shows. This knowledge could literally be the difference between life and death for the women in your life. The night that changed everything. It was a Tuesday evening in March when everything fell apart. My mother Dorothy, 73, had been complaining about feeling under the weather for about 3 weeks. Nothing dramatic, just tired, achy, not quite herself. As her daughter, I kept reassuring her that it was probably just a bug, maybe stress from my father's recent retirement, or simply the normal ups and downs of aging. That Tuesday night, Dorothy called me around PM. "Honey," she said, her voice sounding strained, "I think I need to go to the hospital. I just don't feel right." I almost talked her out of it. Almost. "MOM, what kind of not right?" I asked. "Are you having chest pain?" "No," she said, "but I'm so tired I can barely stand up. My back is killing me, and I feel like I'm going to throw up." Those symptoms sounded like the flu to me, or maybe food poisoning, but something in her voice made me say, "I'm coming to get you." When I arrived at her house, Dorothy was sitting in her kitchen chair, looking pale and sweaty. She was holding her back and kept saying she felt heavy in her chest, not painful, just heavy. "MOM, this doesn't sound like a heart attack," I said, trying to be reassuring. "You are not having chest pain. Your arm doesn't hurt. Maybe we should just call your doctor in the morning." Thank God Dorothy insisted. "No," she said firmly. "Something is really wrong. I need to go now." At the emergency room, the triage nurse initially seemed to agree with my assessment. Dorothy's symptoms didn't match the typical heart attack presentation, but when they did an EKG, everything changed. Dr. Sarah Chern, the emergency cardiologist, came out to talk to us with a very serious expression. "Mrs. Dorothy has been having a major heart attack," she said. "Based on her blood work and EKG, this has been going on for several hours, possibly longer. The symptoms she's been experiencing for the past few weeks were likely warning signs that her heart was in distress." I felt like the room was spinning. "But she doesn't have chest pain," I said stupidly. "That's exactly the problem," Dr. Chen replied. "Women, especially women over 70, often don't experience the classic chest pain that men do. They have what we call atypical symptoms, but there's nothing atypical about them for women. We just haven't educated people to recognize them." Life-saving fact number 1. Women's heart attacks are a silent epidemic. What Dr. Chun taught us that night was shocking. Heart disease is the leading cause of death for women over 65, killing more women than all cancers combined. But here's the life-saving information that most families don't know. Women's heart attacks present completely differently than men's, and this difference is literally killing women. The classic heart attack symptoms we all know: crushing chest pain, pain radiating down the left arm, sudden collapse. These are based on how heart attacks typically present in men. But women, especially women over 70, experience heart attacks differently about 70% of the time. Dr. Chen explained it this way: when most people think heart attack, they picture a man clutching his chest and falling to the ground. But when a 73-year-old woman like Dorothy has a heart attack, she might just feel tired, nauseous, and achy. Her family thinks she has the flu. Her doctor might think it's depression or anxiety. And while everyone is treating the wrong thing, her heart muscle is dying. This is life-saving information every family needs to understand. The American Heart Association reports that women are more likely than men to die from their first heart attack, and delayed recognition of symptoms is a major reason why women over 70 are at particularly high risk because estrogen levels drop after menopause. Removing natural heart protection. Diabetes, high blood pressure, and high cholesterol become more common. Symptoms are more likely to be subtle and easily dismissed. Women are more likely to delay seeking care, thinking they're overreacting. If you take nothing else from this video, remember this: when an elderly woman says she doesn't feel right, take it seriously. Her life may depend on it. Life-saving warning sign number 1. Unusual fatigue that gets worse. The first warning sign Dorothy experienced was extreme fatigue that got progressively worse over 3 weeks. This wasn't just feeling tired after a busy day. This was exhaustion that made simple tasks feel overwhelming. I would get winded just walking from the kitchen to the living room, Dorothy told me later. I thought I was just getting old, but it kept getting worse every day. Life-saving information. Unusual fatigue is the most common heart attack symptom in women over 70, reported by more than 70% of women who have heart attacks. But here's what makes it dangerous: this fatigue often starts weeks or even months before the actual heart attack. Dr. Chen explained that this happens because when coronary arteries start to narrow, the heart has to work harder to pump blood. Think of it like a garden hose with a kink in it, she said. The heart is pumping harder and harder to get blood through narrowed arteries. That extra work causes fatigue that gets worse over time. The key distinction: this isn't the normal tiredness that comes with aging or a busy day. This is fatigue that comes on suddenly and gets progressively worse, makes normal activities feel exhausting, doesn't improve with rest, is often described as overwhelming or crushing, may be accompanied by trouble sleeping despite being exhausted. Dorothy described it perfectly. I felt like I was carrying a heavy backpack all the time, even when I was just sitting in my chair. Life-saving action step. If an elderly woman in your life suddenly develops unusual fatigue that gets worse over days or weeks, especially if she's never experienced this before, insist on immediate medical evaluation. Don't wait for classic chest pain that may never come. Life-saving warning sign number 2. Back, neck, or jaw pain, not chest pain. For 3 weeks before her heart attack, Dorothy complained about her back hurting. We assumed it was her mattress, or maybe she had lifted something wrong. We never connected back pain to heart problems. Life-saving information. In women over 70, heart attack pain often presents in the back, neck, jaw, or shoulder, not the chest. This happens because women's smaller coronary arteries and different pain pathways cause heart attack pain to refer to different areas. Women's heart attack pain is often described as aching, burning, or pressure rather than the sharp, crushing pain that men experience, Dr. Chen explained. And it frequently occurs in places that seem completely unrelated to the heart. Dorothy's back pain had specific characteristics that we should have recognized. It was a deep, aching pain between her shoulder blades. It came and went, but got worse with any physical activity. It was different from any back pain she'd experienced before. It didn't make it better. It was often accompanied by a feeling of tightness in her upper back. The common pain locations in women's heart attacks: jaw pain, often described as a dull ache or feeling like dental pain; neck pain, usually a tight, constricting feeling; shoulder pain, particularly the left shoulder, but can be both sides; upper back pain, between the shoulder blades or radiating across them. Upper back arm pain can be either arm, often described as aching rather than sharp. Life-saving action step. Any new, unexplained pain in the upper body of a woman over 70, especially if it's different from her usual aches and pains, should be evaluated immediately. Don't assume it's musculoskeletal just because it's not in her chest. Life-saving warning sign number 3. Nausea, indigestion, or heartburn. Dorothy kept complaining about her stomach feeling off in the weeks leading up to her heart attack. She thought she had been eating something that didn't agree with her, or maybe had developed a stomach bug that wouldn't go away. I kept taking antacids, she told me. I thought I had heartburn or indigestion. It never occurred to me that it was my heart. Life-saving information. Nausea, vomiting, and indigestion are reported by more than 60% of women who have heart attacks, but less than 30% of men. This gender difference is so significant that doctors now consider unexplained digestive symptoms in elderly women to be potential cardiac warning signs. Dr. Chen explained why this happens. The heart and the stomach share some of the same nerve pathways. When the heart is in distress, those signals can be interpreted by the brain as stomach problems. Dorothy's digestive symptoms had specific patterns. Nausea that came and went throughout the day, a feeling of fullness or pressure in her upper abdomen, what felt like heartburn that didn't respond well to antacids, occasional vomiting, especially when she tried to eat, a general feeling that her stomach was upset most of the time. Life-saving warning signs: indigestive symptoms, sudden onset of indigestion in someone who rarely has stomach problems, persistent nausea that lasts for days or weeks, heartburn that doesn't respond to usual treatments, vomiting without an obvious cause like food poisoning or flu, loss of appetite combined with nausea. Life-saving action step: if an elderly woman develops persistent digestive symptoms that are unusual for her, especially if combined with fatigue or other symptoms, seek immediate medical evaluation. Don't assume it's just a stomach bug or something she ate. Life-saving warning sign number 4. Shortness of breath without chest pain in the weeks before her heart attack. Dorothy mentioned several times that she felt winded, doing things that usually didn't bother her. Climbing stairs left her breathless. Even talking on the phone for more than a few minutes made her feel like she couldn't catch her breath. I thought maybe I was out of shape, she said. I kept meaning to start exercising more, but I felt too tired. Life-saving information. Shortness of breath is one of the most dangerous symptoms to ignore because it often occurs alone, without chest pain, making it easy to dismiss as a sign of aging or being out of shape. Dr. Chen emphasized how critical this symptom is. When the heart isn't pumping effectively due to blocked arteries, the lungs don't get adequate blood flow. This causes shortness of breath that gets progressively worse. In elderly women, this is often the primary symptom of a heart attack. Dorothy's breathing problems had specific characteristics: shortness of breath with minimal exertion walking across the room, feeling breathless while talking, or eating, difficulty breathing when lying flat. She started sleeping with extra pillows, a feeling that she couldn't get enough air. Even at rest, breathing problems that got worse over several weeks. Life-saving patterns to watch for: new onset breathlessness in someone who previously had no breathing problems, progressive worsening of breathing difficulty over days or weeks, breathlessness at rest or with minimal activity, need for extra pillows to sleep comfortably, feeling of suffocation or inability to get enough air. Life-saving action step: any new or worsening shortness of breath in an elderly woman, especially if it's progressive and interferes with daily activities, requires immediate medical evaluation. This can be a sign of an active heart attack. Life-saving warning sign number 5. Cold sweats and dizziness. The night Dorothy went to the emergency room, one of the things that scared me most was how sweaty and clammy she looked. She kept saying she felt dizzy and like something bad was happening. Life-saving information: cold sweats and dizziness during a heart attack happen because the heart isn't pumping effectively, causing blood pressure to drop and triggering the body's stress response. When the heart muscle is damaged or not getting enough oxygen, the body releases stress hormones like adrenaline, Dr. Chen explained. This causes the cold, clammy sweating that many women experience during heart attacks. The dizziness happens because not enough oxygenated blood is reaching the brain. Dorothy's symptoms that night included cold, clammy skin despite not feeling feverish, bruised sweating that seemed to come from no dizziness when standing or even sitting, a feeling of impending doom, like something terrible was about to happen. Lightheadings that made her feel like she might faint. Life-saving warning patterns: cold sweats that aren't related to fever or hot with a sudden dizziness or feeling faint, clammy skin that feels cold to the touch, sense of impending doom, feeling that something is terribly wrong. Combination symptoms: sweating plus dizziness plus other warning signs. Life-saving action step: cold sweats combined with any other heart attack warning signs in an elderly woman should trigger an immediate call to 911. Don't wait to see if symptoms improve, act immediately. Why women's heart attacks are different. The life-saving science: understanding why women's heart attacks present differently isn't just academic, it's life-saving information that explains why so many women die from unrecognized heart attacks. Dr. Chen walked us through the science. Anatomical differences: women have smaller coronary arteries than men. When these smaller arteries become blocked, the pattern of damage is different, causing different symptoms. Hormonal factors: after menopause, women lose the protective effects of estrogen. This makes them more susceptible to heart disease and changes how their bodies respond to cardiac events. Pain pathway differences. Women and men process pain differently due to differences in nervous system structure. Women are more likely to experience referred pain, heart pain that shows up in other parts of the body. Plaque differences. Women are more likely to develop soft plaque that doesn't always show up on standard testing, making their heart disease harder to detect until it causes a heart attack. Age factors. Women typically develop heart disease about 10 years later than men, meaning their first heart attacks often occur when they're older and more likely to have multiple health issues that mask symptoms. Life-saving takeaway. These differences aren't weaknesses, they're important variations that require different recognition and treatment approaches. Understanding them can save lives. The hour that saved Dorothy's life, and Dr. Chern and her team recognized that Dorothy was having a heart attack. Everything moved incredibly fast. Within 30 minutes, she was in the cardiac catheterization lab, where they found a 95% blockage in her left anterior descending artery. The one cardiologists call the widowmaker. If Dorothy had waited until morning to come in, or if we had sent her home thinking this was indigestion, she likely wouldn't have survived. Dr. Chern told us later. The 3 weeks of symptoms she experienced were her heart crying out for help. Her decision to come to the hospital that night, despite having atypical symptoms, saved her life. The procedure to open Dorothy's blocked artery took less than an hour. A tiny balloon and stent restored blood flow to her heart muscle, preventing further damage. But here's the life-saving information that every family needs to know. The sooner treatment begins, the more heart muscle can be saved. For every minute that passes during a heart attack, more heart tissue dies. This is why recognizing symptoms early is literally a matter of life and death, recovery and life-saving lessons. Dorothy's recovery was remarkable, largely because we caught her heart attack before massive heart muscle damage occurred. Within a week, she was walking the hospital halls. Within a month, she was back to most of her normal activities. But the most important part of her recovery was learning about the life-saving information that could prevent future cardiac events. Medication compliance. Dorothy now takes medications to prevent blood clots, control cholesterol, and support heart function. I used to hate taking pills, she said. But now I understand that each one is protecting my life. Cardiac rehabilitation. Dorothy participated in a supervised exercise program designed for heart attack survivors. I learned that exercise isn't just good for me, it's medicine for my heart. Warning sign education. Our entire family learned to recognize the signs of another potential heart attack. Now we know what to watch for, Dorothy said, and we know to act immediately if any of these symptoms return. Regular monitoring. Dorothy sees her cardiologist every 3 months and has learned to pay attention to her body in ways she never did before. Life-saving information for your family based on Dorothy's experience and Dr. Chen's expertise. Here's the life-saving information every family should know about heart attacks in women over 70. Take feeling off seriously when an elderly woman says she doesn't feel right, especially if this feeling persists or gets worse over days or weeks. Seek medical evaluation immediately. Know the 5 warning signs. Unusual fatigue, back or neck or jaw pain, nausea or indigestion, shortness of breath, and cold sweats or dizziness. Any combination of these symptoms requires immediate medical attention. Don't wait for chest pain. Most women over 70 who have heart attacks do not experience the classic crushing chest pain. Waiting for this symptom could be fatal. Act immediately. If you suspect a heart attack, call 911 immediately. Don't drive to the hospital. Don't wait to see if symptoms improve. Don't call the doctor's office first. Every minute matters. Know your risk factors. Women over 70 with diabetes, high blood pressure, high cholesterol, or a family history of heart disease are at particularly high risk. Advocate for yourself. If medical professionals dismiss your concerns or symptoms, insist on cardiac testing. Trust your instincts about your body. The numbers that could save lives here are the life-saving statistics every family should know. Heart disease kills 1 woman every 80 seconds in the United States. Women are 50% more likely than men to receive a wrong initial diagnosis for heart attacks. Women over 65 have a higher risk of dying from heart attacks than men the same age. Only 56% of women recognize that heart disease is their leading cause of death. Women delay seeking treatment an average of 54 minutes longer than men for heart attack. Symptoms. These aren't just numbers, they represent mothers, wives, grandmothers, and daughters whose lives could be saved with better recognition of women's heart attack symptoms. Dr. Chun's life-saving message to family 6 months after Dorothy's heart attack. I interviewed Dr. Chun about what families need to know. Her message was clear. The most important thing families can do is education and advocacy. Learn the symptoms of women's heart attacks. They're different from men's. And that difference is killing women. When an elderly woman says something doesn't feel right, believe her. Don't dismiss her symptoms as anxiety, depression, or normal aging. And don't let healthcare providers dismiss them either. Dr. Chun also emphasized the importance of immediate action. I see too many families who waste precious time trying to decide whether symptoms are serious enough for the emergency room. When it comes to potential heart attacks, it's always better to be wrong about going to the hospital than to be wrong about staying home. Dorothy's message to other women today. Dorothy is thriving. She's back to her normal activities, travels regularly, and has become an advocate for women's heart health awareness. Her message to other women over 70 is simple but powerful. Trust your body. If something doesn't feel right, don't let anyone, including yourself, talk you out of getting help. I almost died because I thought I was overreacting. Now I know that what I was feeling was my heart trying to save my life. Dorothy also wants women to know that having a heart attack isn't the end of the world. I was terrified when it happened, but with proper treatment and lifestyle changes, I'm actually healthier now than I was before my heart attack. The key is catching it early and taking it seriously. Life-saving action steps you can take today based on Dorothy's story and the medical evidence. Here are the life-saving steps every family can take. Educate everyone in your family about women's heart attack symptoms. Print out the 5 warning signs and post them where everyone can see them. Have honest conversations with elderly women in your life about their health and any symptoms they might be experiencing. Create an emergency plan that includes calling 911 immediately for any suspected heart attack symptoms. Know the risk factors and encourage regular medical checkups for women over 70. Don't dismiss symptoms as normal aging, anxiety, or minor health issues. Advocate for proper testing if symptoms persist or worsen. The life-saving truth about women and heart disease. Most important life-saving information from Dorothy's story is this. Women's heart attacks are not rare, unusual, or atypical. They're just different from men's. For too long, medical training and public awareness have been based on male heart attack patterns, leaving women dangerously unprotected, but this is changing. Organizations like the American Heart Association, Go Red for Women, and Women Heart are working to educate both medical professionals and the public about these crucial differences. Your knowledge could save a life. By understanding and sharing the information in this video, you become part of the solution to a problem that kills hundreds of thousands of women every year. Final life-saving thoughts. The heart attack taught our family that medical emergencies don't always look like what we expect. Sometimes the most dangerous situations present quietly, subtly, in ways that are easy to dismiss or ignore. But we also learn that knowledge is power, and in the case of heart attacks, knowledge is literally the power to save lives. The 5 warning signs I've shared with you today: unusual fatigue, back or neck or jaw pain, nausea or indigestion, shortness of breath, and cold sweats. Dizziness could help you recognize a heart attack in an elderly woman before it's too late. Don't wait for crushing chest pain that may never come. Don't assume that feeling off is just part of aging, and don't hesitate to seek immediate medical care when something doesn't feel right. Dorothy's story has a happy ending because we eventually took her symptoms seriously and acted quickly. But it could have had a very different ending if we had continued to dismiss her concerns, or if she had waited until morning to seek help. This life-saving information could prevent the tragedy for your family. Thank you for watching this crucial information about women's heart attacks. If this video helped you understand these important warning signs, please share it with others, especially families with elderly women. Your sharing could literally save someone's life. Please comment below if you've experienced similar symptoms or situations with elderly women in your life. And don't forget to subscribe for more life-saving health content. Remember, when it comes to heart attacks in women over 70, knowledge isn't just power, it's the power to save lives. And now you have that power.